G'day everybody, my name's Nigel Kerin from Kerin Agriculture, which is situated 80 kilometres south of Dubbo. And our business is made up of it's 100% grazing business, which incorporates Kerin Pole Merino stud, as well as a cattle trading operation, which involves backgrounding to feedlots, or if the market determines to go another way, we do joining of heifers and then on-selling of those heifers using bulls as well as AI. We're fifth generation down there, and we've been in that area all our life, and it's located in an area about 25-26 inch rainfall, and we get an even pattern of rain all through the year. So in our operation, there's basically my son Joseph that looks after the livestock trading operation, and then Brett Kerin looks after the Kerin Pole stud operation, and they're the managers of each one. We run about 45,000 DSEs with one labour unit in the cattle trading operation. And where we found our biggest inefficiencies was when we got to the yards. So that's why when we built our new yards, if we could bring in animals with one labour unit and get them in and out of the yards within 2 to 3 hours, draft off what you wanted to load and get them back on grass, and quickly, if you work out your weight gains, work out multiplied by your cents a kilo, those yards, it's only a matter of a few years of efficiencies and getting them back out on grass quick. It'll actually pay for them, as well as having a fantastic set of yards to work in, whether it's winter or summer. The biggest thing I wanted in a set of yards, from no matter wherever I was with a group of animals and I wanted to go to a particular pen, I could do that at any time without shifting animals out of my road. When we first drew up the yards, it took about 15 months to develop and change and switch around, and we've incorporated an internal laneway system which works absolutely brilliantly and has brilliant flow through of animals. We have for the last 10 years been using all the principles of low stress stock handling inside the yards. So the old yards we had, we used bud boxes, so that's why when we built our new yards we used bud boxes in them as well. We've incorporated a bud box for loading out and a bud box for loading the working race. So in the design of the Cattleyards, we had slide gates in the race, 3 slide gates, and in my head I knew there was an answer with technology. So what we did was installed the rotary block gates that ProWay make, and all those gates that we use are on a remote control lanyard that hangs around your neck, and there's also the controls up on the arm of the crush as well. And that was part of that 15 months of research, was to find a company that could develop the technology to remove one labour unit from the weighing process and the operation of the crush and the operation of the 5-way draft. We've installed a fully autonomous weighing system. It's a 5-way draft where you can draft on sex, breed, age, withholding periods, anything you can think of, we can draft it out without the use of a labour unit up the front. So our labour unit's at the back, loading the race, and everything just follows through. My idea was, with putting in this autonomous draft system, was to have a throughput of at least 300 animals an hour. And that's been well and truly achieved. We've put a decent sized shed over the whole lot, so we're under the shade all the time doing our work, and we've got lights everywhere. So when we get into our red hot summers, I'd rather be starting at 3 in the morning and finish by 6, 7 o'clock, and have them all back into the paddock by 9 and back on grass and growing. The first set of yards that ProWay actually built were our set of sheep yards, and that was when they first started the company up, and Bill designed them, and ever since then we've had a relationship. So yeah, so it's been a relationship now that's been going ever since ProWay, which would have been Prattley back in those days, started. So as far as doing business with ProWay, my advice to people when you're building a set of yards is take your time to design them, don't rush into it. But the most important thing to do in a set of yards is to prepare your pad and do your pad properly. Get your pad right, get your levels right, get the water running off it, and you'll be able to work your cattle whenever you want in the wettest of seasons. So why did Kerin Agriculture choose ProWay to build our yards? As I said earlier, we've been doing business together before and it worked well back then. It worked well this time. But one of the absolute pleasures of this set of yards was the two guys that turned up to do the construction part. And if I was building a set of yards, no matter what it was, I'd be asking for those two blokes back again, because it's not very often you get a construction team that's Peter perfect on every single process that they do, from wiping all the cement off the posts when they put them in, to making sure everything's square and every single gate latch in the slam catches just works perfectly. And it was a pleasure working with a crew that actually cared about the job they done. So the question's always, how can you justify spending so much money on a set of yards? Well, it never crosses my mind that I can't afford it. What have I got to change in my business or incorporate into my business to be able to afford a fantastic set of Cattleyards in this instance? One of the things in our business, I wanted an absolute pleasure for young people to work in as well as myself, and I want it to be the place of choice. If you're after casual labour to come in, they'll go and work there because it's a great place to work, and that includes our sheep yards and our cattle yards. So I just know with really skilled labour, you want them working in a really efficient facility, and I reckon that's what these cattle yards, in all the yards that I've looked around, as far as throughput of cattle and the way that we've designed them, they're an absolute cracking set of yards.